For most 9-year-olds, the simple pleasure gained from playing barefoot rugby with their mates would be enough to keep the adrenaline flowing all day, perhaps all week long. However, among this group of energetic youngsters at Durbanville Prep is Niel van der Vyfer, who gets his kicks on a motocross bike. In fact, he is a national and continental 50cc champion at the sport, which he took to very quickly after being introduced to motorbikes at the tender age of 3.
Somebody sent me a YouTube clip of a 2.5-year-old little lighty riding a PB50 without training wheels. And at that stage, Niel was 3 years old. And when I got home that evening, I took his training wheels off, and there he was riding without his training wheels. That evening, I went on to Gumtree and I bought a little PB50. And I saw in the same ads YZ450, and I thought to myself, it might be a good thing to buy myself also a bike again, and to spend some quality time with Niel. But obviously that didn't work. The bike was way too big and too strong, so I just sold it afterwards and just went with Niel to the track.
Werner is 'n baie goeie verkoopsman, so toe hy hier aankom met 2 motorfietsse, toe is die storie klaar my verkoop dat hulle saam gaan motorfiets ry. En ek het maar net in my agterkop gedink dit gaan nie baie lank aanhou nie. En toe word ek aangenaam verras.
No, it doesn't run in the family at all. One day, a random guy at Zone 7 came up to me and he asked me if I saw that Niel is riding his PB flat out around the track. And that guy suggested that I invest in a few lessons just to get the basics, and that's how it all started.
What started out as a hobby for Niel evolved into a passion. His parents noticed a competitive streak in the youngster, and he was soon opening the throttle on motocross tracks, and needless to say, success followed quickly.
Niel het na ons toe gekom en gesê hy wil baie graag aan die championship deelneem. En toe het ons besluit, laat hy nou maar vir 3 keer die races doen en kyk wat gebeur. En toe na die 3de keer het hy so goed gedoen eintlik dat hy die hele jaar toe klaar gery het.
He was the junior club champion, newbie club champion in 2014. 2015 was his full year of nationals. He came 10th that year on the national level, and the only junior in the top 10. And then he was the club champion, the senior club champion in 2015. And 2016, obviously, he won the SA Championship and he was crowned the African champ in Kenya.
Ek sou graag wil aanhou met motocross, wat elke jaar soos dit kom, en ek wil ook eendag die world champions wees soos my hero Ryan Dangy.
As Niel rose through the ranks, it was clear he was going to need support to sustain his passion and performance. He needed sponsorship, and at the end of 2016, motorbike giant Husqvarna stepped in to provide Niel with a top-class bike and support.
We've been a loyal client of Eddie to Race for many years, and they paved the way for us to meet with Husqvarna upon them releasing the new 50cc at the end of last year. We met with Fred Fensham from Husqvarna, and we made a deal with him, and the rest is history. What is mentionable is that Husqvarna decided only to sponsor 5 motocross riders this year, of which Niel is the only junior rider that they sponsor. It not only ensures that Niel has the best bikes around, but also the best mechanics, equipment and safety gear. At this stage, Niel has 3 bikes. We've got a race bike and a spare race bike, and then a practice bike that we use. We use them from new to 30 hours, and then we sell it on, and then we buy a new one which replaces then the old one. Some of these bikes are sponsored, but I invested in a few myself.
In order to reach the top, aspiring sportsmen and women need to be meticulous in their preparation ahead of competition. And in Niel's case, this means a spotless bike and kit and dedicated mechanics, which frees Niel up to walk the course before the races.
Race day is always busy, but for us as a family, we try and prepare beforehand, and to take the stress away, we try and do everything a day or 3 before the race, so that we don't have to do lots of last-minute things The bikes must be prepped. We try and get the bikes prepped at the latest on the Thursday on a race. You can't get to a race day and your bikes hasn't been prepped. I mean, it's mechanical. You can easily have a mechanical failure that could cause a DNF, which could mean that you can lose championship points, or you can even lose a championship if you don't prepare well. Obviously, his kit, the helmet, all those things need to be cleaned properly. He likes to look clean and neat. At every race, there's a mechanic available for Niel from Eddie to race, and he looks after Niel's bikes for the day. Everybody knows that I'm not mechanically orientated, so I'm glad that Eddie decided to send Carl and Ruan. It's always a pleasure to have them looking after Niel's bikes in the pits. Niel walks the track by himself, but I have installed that in him from his first race, because in racing conditions change heat after heat. So you'll catch Niel on a race day walking the track 3 to 4 times on a day. We had a race last year where there was a burst water pipe and nobody else walked the track. And we walked the track and we saw that. And he was the only one that didn't drop the bike in that particular corner. So, and that he made up valuable time and he won the race that day.
Niel is currently leading the South African Championships in the 50cc class, having won each heat at the Port Elizabeth, Cape Town, Bloemfontein and Randfontein rounds of the series. His commitment to the sport means he and his father have to plan their travel schedules very carefully, so he doesn't miss too many school days.
To Bloemwheel Drive, I've got a big trailer, so we put the bikes in the trailer. And but if we go to Joburg or Durban, I'll send the trailer with somebody, and then we'll fly up just to save time, because you can't. You can't keep him out of school for 2, 3, 4 days. We try and get a balance between schoolwork and his sports. It's an ongoing battle every day. But if we take him out of school, we get his homework beforehand, or we'll organise something with the school. So it's never been a problem. At the level that Niel competes in, it is challenging, and it gets even more challenging now with Niel moving in his grades at school. But that's where his school, the Groenewald Prep, is amazing, and they support him all the way.
His exposure to motocross and his resultant success has seen a noticeable change in Niel's demeanour, and it's all for the good, according to his mother.
Niel is 'n baie stil kind. Hy kyk goed die kat uit die boom. Hy is baie selfstandig en hy's definitief meer mature as van sy ander vriende. En ek dink dit is as gevolg van die sport, want hy het baie meer selfvertroue wat hy deur die sport gekry het, en hy's baie gedetermineerd. Ek wil net hê dit wat hy doen, moet hy ten volle geniet en dat hy die beste daarvan sal maak.
While motocross may appear to be something of a niche sport, it has seen a resurgence in popularity even in the few years in which the Van der Vyfers have been involved in it.
Well, I would say the sport is growing on a national level. When Niel started racing, there were 5 or 6 50cc riders on the line. We had a race this weekend. We had in excess of 20 50cc riders. So the sport is growing tremendously in South Africa. Provincially, it's not that competitive, I would think, but on a national level, it's a whole other story, and it's a continuous competitive environment.
With a deep well of determination and passion, a good sponsor, and incredibly supportive parents, Niel van der Vyfer looks well on his way to following in the dirt tracks of his hero, the legendary Supercross champion from the United States, Ryan Dungey.